I have got boxes and boxes of old artwork that I don't know what to do with. What do you think I should do with it? Greetings everyone, welcome to the underground lair where we bring our creations to life. I'm Scott, I'm a professional illustrator, designer, and mad creator because you know what? You have to be a little crazy to do this thing called art. And you know what is really crazy? The amount of stuff that we as humans accumulate. And, and I'm no stranger to that. I mean, the underground lair here is just strewn with all kinds of stuff that I don't really need, that I need to get rid of, that I need to purge. But when it comes to the artwork, it's a little more difficult for me because I hold a certain amount of sentimental attachment to some of that stuff. But I need to figure out what to do with it. I need to come up with some sort of plan. So I'm going to go through some of this stuff. And while I do that, I'm just going to brainstorm a few ideas. And maybe in the chat, you guys can help me out, give me some advice on what I can do. And I want to know, do you guys have a lot of artwork? What do you guys do with your artwork? The old stuff that you have lying around or whatever. Yeah, I'm really curious about that. So let's get into it. I'm going to go through some art. I'm going to talk a little bit about what to do with it. So lately I have been seriously getting into minimalism. You know, actually seriously may not be the best term to use because trepidatiously, is that a word? Or just, you know, easing into this. I've been watching some minimalism content. I think it's called The Minimalist. I think it's on either on YouTube. I've been watching them on YouTube also. I think there's a Netflix special. But just these guys who decided that they don't need all their stuff and they teach other people how to kind of get rid of some of that stuff and live very Spartanly. And these are guys that had decent careers, so they had a lot of nice things. And it doesn't always mean you have a lot of nice things or that you've purchased a lot of things. It could be just getting things for free. You know, sometimes things just show up here in the underground lair and I'm like, oh, somebody gave me this for free. I could find use for this or whatever. And or, you know, I'm a person that likes to, you know, build things or whatever. So I like to keep things around because it's like, oh, I might find a use for this. And I'm by no means a hoarder, and I like to keep things organized in their place. But even with organization, it's still there. It's still stuff. I mean, whether we rent a storage space and we spend, you know, tons of money every month on this storage space for something that just sits there, and you know, it's just crazy because a lot of times the stuff that we would have, and I don't have a storage space, but I do have a lot of room here in the lair, and it's just stuff's tucked away all over the place, out of sight, out of mind. But if I need it, I know it's there. And so I've been sort of getting into this whole idea, and I've been making an effort. I don't know if I'll get so serious into that where I basically have nothing except the absolute necessities and things like that, like these minimalist guys do. But I've made it a goal that I want to get rid of about 50% of my stuff, at least to start off with, and then we can go from there and we'll see where I wind up. But the problem is and I've been doing pretty good with this, going through things, and it's a little hard at first getting rid of things because I'm like, oh, I could use that. And I've had times before where I did get rid of something, I'm like, oh, I need that now, and I don't have it. But usually it's not that big of a deal. But with artwork, now that I'm getting to the point where I'm looking through some of my old artwork, that's the part where I have to kind of take pause because, you know, there's a few different kinds of artists out there. I've seen, you know, people that have stuff way back from when they were kids, their artwork, and they pull it out. And I've seen people that just, they don't have any attachment to that. They just throw it out. And I've always been somebody that encourages people to hold on to their stuff, because even if it's not the best stuff, if it seems cringy to you at the time or whatever, it's always good not to necessarily compare yourself to other artists out there, because compare and despair and all that stuff. But it's good, I think it's good to compare yourself to where you are now to where you were a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever. And it's always good to have stuff to look back at. And I don't look at any of my old artwork, even as a kid, I don't look at it as, oh, this is really bad. Obviously, obviously it's not as good as what I can do now, but I can kind of see that progression and everything. So I hold a certain amount of sentimentality to that artwork. So it's really hard for me to get rid of that. And I'm not necessarily sure I want to with that old stuff, but I've been, you know, I hold on to my stuff, you know, even the more recent stuff, the stuff that I'm going through right now is probably, I would say it's either, it could be anywhere from, you know, a year ago to maybe 5, maybe 8 years ago, this particular stuff, and this is only a small portion of that. And I've got stuff going back even further and all different projects and things. And there are some things, especially, I think it's gonna be easy for me to go through like sketches and things that I did for client work that I didn't really hold that much attachment to. But some of the stuff is more personal, some of the stuff that I did just for fun or whatever. And I'm not opposed to giving some of my stuff away or selling it or whatever, as long as it finds a good home or whatever. But I don't know, I just, I don't really, I guess I've never subscribed to that idea of this, you know, I do this artwork and oh, it's done, and yeah, that's what it was, you know. And I don't really keep a sketchbook, so most of the stuff I have is just loose, hanging out, you know, just all over the place. So yeah, so what do I do with all of this artwork that I have? Because I'm not the kind of person that's just gonna trash it, you know, obviously. And I think it has value, and I think there's people that want it or whatever, whether it's for sale or, you know, so here's some ideas that I'm batting around. I've never really, like I said, I've never really sold original artwork so much on my, you know, like on my online store. It's mostly prints and things like that. I don't know if there's a demand for stuff like this. You know, there may be people out there that might want to purchase it. The only thing with that, you upload a print, and if it sells, you still have that sort of listing up there, or, you know, and then people can buy the next print. But once you have original artwork, you post it, it's one thing, and then once it's gone, and then, you know, it seems like a lot of work to upload all that stuff. Maybe not, I've never really tried to do it, but, you know, obviously original artwork can sell for more than, you know, prints and things, so there's that too. But, you know, and I don't know if, I don't want to undersell it, you know, and not to say that I'm not also, the other thing I was thinking of, and this is something that I have done with some of my artwork, is give it away either as an extra, like if somebody purchases something from my store. If it's a big purchase, maybe I will throw in an original sketch, or sometimes on my Patreon, I give away sketches. It's kind of hard to do because Patreon, the way it works, you're not really allowed to do certain giveaways because they kind of see it as gambling, and there's certain things that are kind of against the law. So it all has to be skill based, and so whereas before it was just I did a raffle before I knew you weren't supposed to do that, and you can't really do that. So I don't do that as much because it seems like if I make it skill based, it seems like it's the same people winning that artwork over and over again, which is fine if they're the only ones playing, but I'd like to find a way to get more people that opportunity to get some of their artwork. So you know, like I said, maybe posting some of this stuff for sale on my store, continue to give some of it away. Another thing I can do, you know, is, and this is something I should probably be doing, and most people probably should be doing, is just digitize it. So I have at least a digital copy of that artwork, so I can look back at it, and, you know, that would take up less space. And that's also good to do if you are giving it away or selling it, to have a copy of that. And with YouTube, you know, whether you're digitizing the artwork as a file on your computer, or because I've done a lot of this and a lot of stuff you're seeing, there's probably a video of some of this stuff floating around on my YouTube channel showing the process of that. So that's a good kind of time capsule of that piece as well. The other thing I could do, and Jake Parker used to do this, I don't know if he does it anymore, but he used to have this art drop day, or used to do these art drops where he would just leave his artwork out in the world with a little note, and then if somebody finds it, and then, you know, and then put a little contact thing. If you find this, let me know if you like it or whatever. Here's my email or whatever. I kind of like that idea, and I've done that a few times on the art drop day and everything. So maybe that's something that I can do. The other thing, like I said, I don't keep a sketchbook. So, and I've done a video where I took some artwork and I kind of compiled it into a sketchbook where I scanned it and I put it together in the sketchbook. And so I could do that, you know, even like a scrapbook, you know, get a scrapbook and start putting it in there. Those could probably tend to get pretty thick. I know a lot of people that have sketchbooks, and I've got a lot. The other thing that I have trouble getting rid of are books, because I use them for reference. So while there's certain things that are easy for me to get rid of, but you know, the art and stuff, because I really do hold an attachment to art. It's my career. It's what I love doing. So that's a difficult thing. The other thing is to collect it in a book, like in an art book that I could actually sell, you know, photograph it, you know, collect some of this stuff in a book that I could sell. And that's something that I definitely want to do. I have an idea to do it. Again, a lot of work involved in that. It would be so much easier just to say, okay, you know, just toss it. You know, I'm definitely not going to do that, but it's a lot easier, you know. But you know, if I just took the time, you know, it could be another source of income too. I know a lot of artists that create sketchbooks. Sometimes even they do one a year and put that out there. So that might be something that I should look into doing. A lot of my stuff is color, so you print color, it can get kind of expensive, but there's print on demand and there's things like that. So I don't know. I mean, or I could kickstart it. That's another option, is kickstart like an art book. So there's so many different things that I could do with the art. But you know, and I've got other stuff. Like I said, I've got projects. I've got the box that I was holding up in the beginning is actually filled with work from a kids television show that I created many years ago, and I have not yet looked through that. But there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of copies of things in there, and there's a lot of, so I don't know. You know, maybe I'll just do a video on that. Maybe I can show some clips from the you know, children's show that I created, show some of that behind the scenes artwork, chronicle that, and then, you know, depending on what I find, maybe I'll hold on to some of that stuff. I don't know if that in particular would be of any value to anyone, because it's an old show. It never really, I mean, there was a pilot and everything, but it never really, you know, most people don't know about it. Plus it's a kids show, but it might be fun to do something like that with it. And I've got other projects and things that I was involved with, and I really just need to go through some of this stuff. So I'm still, part of this video is just me going through in my head, and I really do want to get advice from you guys. What do you do with some of the old stuff? Do you have it? Has there been any ideas that I haven't considered that I might want to consider? Yeah, so I'm kind of open to whatever, but it is. I do enjoy going through my old artwork and kind of seeing where I was, and sometimes I surprise myself. You know, I'll find something like, wow, I think I did a pretty good job on that piece. And again, and if you're watching this right now, if you're looking at some of this stuff and you're like, wow, maybe this stuff looks good to you, or maybe you're not at that level. This stuff isn't so far back. I mean, like I said, it could be maybe within the last 5 years or whatever. I've got other older stuff that might be a little more like, ooh, you know, not the best stuff to show. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not opposed to showing anything that I've done, because you know, I'm always trying to improve. I'm always getting better, and you should be too. And that's why it's really, for me, this is the biggest struggle for me right now with all of the other things that I've done as far as getting, you know, getting into minimalism, so to speak, or whatever. The artwork is the hardest thing for me to part with. So I've got to figure out a few things, but yeah. So, you know, and if you are one of those people that look at your old artwork, it's like, I don't want anything to do with it, burn it. And I've known a lot of people like that, and I'm like, wow, you know, I don't know if I could do that, because I like to see that progress. And then I've heard of other stories of artists, and this is a sad one, who had just either their artwork got thrown out and they wish they still had it, or maybe they lost it in a fire or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, because I've seen, you know, a lot of artists. I think Alex Ross is one of those where I have one of his art books, and he showed all the stuff that he had as a kid, and some of it was kind of the level that I was at as a kid. I'm like, wow, man, if I would apply myself a little better, I could do the stuff that Alex Ross did. Maybe somewhere along the lines, he had a shift where he just, like, really started to discover himself and, like, you know, he's doing the kind of stuff he does now. But it's, everyone's different, everyone's art journey is different and everything, but it is nice to hold on to that so you can kind of keep track of that journey. So anyway, that's all I have to say about this type of, you know, going through artwork and everything, some of my ideas, but I would love to get your opinion if you know, what do you do with your old artwork, and yeah, just let me know. All right, so there you go. So as you can tell, I'm a little torn about what to do with my old artwork. I don't mind giving it out, giving it away or selling it if it gets into the right hands, somebody who's really going to appreciate it. But I am somebody that likes to hold on to some of that stuff, even my comic book stuff. The comic book pages, I'm still kind of holding on to that, because eventually, because it's printed and I have that copy, I'm not opposed to just, you know, selling that stuff and not holding on to that stuff in particular. But I'm waiting till I get the trade done and everything for, you know, and when I start marketing a little more and getting it out there, so there'll be a little more of a demand for those original pages. Because right now, I don't know that they would go for as much as I would like to, but if the comic becomes a success, and you know, like I said, I've got plans that once I finish the whole story, I'm really going to push it and everything like that, and see what I can make happen with it. But I want that story to be done. So somewhere down the line, yeah, original artwork pages, my comic book artwork and everything. But as far as the sketches and everything, that's the kind of thing I'm still not sure exactly what to do with. But let me know if you have some ideas. Let me know what you guys do. Do you toss your old artwork? Do you hold on to it? Do you find it hard to let go of, even if it's, like I said, going to a good home? I want to know. Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.